Hi, welcome back to Old School Flicks with Nick. In today's episode, I'm going to show you how you can get a region-free Blu-ray player for $100 or less. That's right, $100 or less. Let's get into it. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing and clicking the bell icon for notifications. I'm trying to get my first 1,000 subscribers, and if you could help me out on this journey, it'd be greatly appreciated. Now, we want to look for a player that's not going to cost us too much, that is not super old, something that we don't have to worry about soldering any chips, anything like that. You know, the least complicated, the better. For this, we're going to need to look for Panasonic model Blu-ray players. Not a 4K model, just a regular standard Blu-ray model. Now, the best place to find an older Panasonic Blu-ray player is Facebook Marketplace. A lot of us don't like to use Facebook anymore, but the one good part about Facebook is Facebook Marketplace. So now we're going to do a search to see what we can find. Now, the reason we want a Panasonic Blu-ray player is you can buy a chip from a website that requires no soldering. It's like a 5-pin, 4-pin connection. You plug it right on to the Blu-ray motherboard. It's usually like a 4 or 5-pin connection. And then you just flash firmware on the chip. You reboot it a couple times, you're done. So now, it's kind of hard to, find these players if you live in a smaller area, smaller community, smaller city. So I've set my search to New York with a 25-mile radius, just to help us find some results for the video. I'm going to go over and I'm going to search for Panasonic Blu-ray player. Now, what you want to keep in mind is you don't want a super old model. You don't want like a BTD10 or I think it's called BT10, 12, something like that. You're not going to want that. And you want to go through here, you want to check, you want to aim for $40 or less, maybe $50. These are not set prices. You can always hit the seller up. You could say, hey, can you take $5 off the price? And sometimes they just want to get rid of it, and hey, it saves you a couple bucks. $25. Now, here's something you want to look for. Pay close attention to this. If you look, it says DMP BDT 361. That's a lot newer than the DMP BDT 35, BDT 75, something like 76. This is manufactured a lot later. This is kind of what you want to go for. I have a BDT 300 something model that I put the chip in myself, set it up, it works fine. I would suggest going for this. It's $25. $25 is offer them a 20. They'll probably take it. So once you've taken note of what the model number is on the Panasonic Blu-ray player, we're going to go to Rattlebyte Technologies website, and we're going to search through the Panasonic model. So now we're going to search for BDT 361, and here it is. So we're going to select this. Now when you go to this page, you're going to see two options for the region-free mod chip. You're going to see soldered and solderless. Always pick solderless. This is for you if you don't have soldering skills. This is what you need to get. Make sure it's solderless. Not a bad price, free shipping. You're going to add this to cart. It's going to take about 6 weeks for delivery. Now, once you get your chip in the mail, it's going to come with some instructions, but you're going to have to log into the Rattlebyte Technologies website and download their firmware. Installation, very easy. You take off, usually it's 3 screws on the back. of the Blu-ray player. You slide off the top. In the instructions here, it'll show you where to plug the chip in. The board here, this is the chip. It comes with the ribbon cable. So you basically you plug in one end to the chip, one end to the free slot on the motherboard. It's not complicated. There's usually only one spot that's free for these pins to go into. Match up the connector to the pins, you're in business. Once you plug this in, there's a light on the mod chip that's going to flash a couple times red just to know that it's pairing with the motherboard. Don't turn off the player, don't do anything. Wait for it. Takes around 3 minutes or so, it says here in the instructions. Took mine around roughly the same time. After it finishes pairing, you're going to have to flash, usually 2 sets of firmware on the player. And it'll tell you in the instructions, it'll say this is, the first firmware you need to install, and this is the second one. But now the way this works is it's not completely region free at all times. You can't just throw in a region A disk, a region B disk, region C, and expect it to work every single time. It's not wide open like that. It's not how it works. What you're going to have to do, if you want to switch regions, just follow the simple instructions here. It really depends on the model, but some are different. A lot of them are similar to this, where it says just make sure it's in standby, press 1 for Blu-ray region A, press 2 for B, and press 3 for C. And initially it's set up for region B because most people use it for region B releases if you're in North America. And you just wait for everything to power on. For my model, what I have to do, with the tray ejected and no disk in, I either hit 1, 2, or 3. It closes the tray and reboots. I leave my Panasonic player in region B at all times. If I want to watch a region A or 4K disc, I just throw that in my 4K player, and I'm good to go. Zavi's UK website occasionally has sales on Arrow Video titles. Last summer I was able to pick up 8 movies for $80 shipped in my local currency. Now here, an Arrow Video title usually start at 30 to 35 and up. I have seen some that are 45 on Amazon.ca, it's just ridiculous. Yeah, you spent a little bit on a region-free Blu-ray player, but you're going to save so much money on disc and movies that you love. If this guide has been helpful, please consider subscribing, and thanks for watching.